What's up, everybody? I'm here with Sew Yeah Quilting with a guest star here, Carolina Moore, and she's going to show us how to make one of her quilts. Let's get started. So since we are doing one of your patterns here, I want to kind of let you take over here. From my understanding, we got some scraps here.
So we've cut our pieces into some different size strips and then a bunch of 5-inch squares. So you can use already 5-inch squares that you have left over from other projects, or you can cut your own, which is what we've done here. And you want to divide your 5-inch squares into 6 piles.
Okay.
So each pile will have 14 squares in it, and you want those strips to kind of be a little bit together. So like I would grab these. This is going to be.
And are we going with like color? Like how are we supposed to combine these?
So I like going by color. So I've got different colors here, but let's say you're doing this quilt in all blues, then I would do like dark blues, medium blues, light blues, things like that.
So we're going to just start separating these. We got a little bit of yellow pile there.
Yep.
And how many squares here?
So you want 14, and it's okay to have duplicates of different fabrics in here. You want, I would say, at least 3 different colors per pile, but you can absolutely do more. And it's okay if you have 2 stacks that are really similar.
Gotcha.
We've done, I think, 2 yellow stacks, 2 blue stacks, and 2 pink stacks.
Matches up real nice here. As far as our 5-inch squares, we've already pre-cut those, pretty simple. Then we got these guys here.
So we have a 5-inch, a 3-inch, and a 2-inch. So this comes out of 10 inches. Strips. These ones, we've actually cut them from the width of fabric, and we only need half the width of fabric for these.
Gotcha.
We only need 20 inches, so we'll cut these on the fold and cut them down to 20 inches.
It's not really a labor-intensive project so far, right? 5-inch squares, you probably have some, and especially in charm packs, there's always like 10 that you don't need for your project. You can use all those guys,
save them up,
whatever you want to do there. So where do we go from here as far as sewing?
So we'll take our piles.
Awesome.
And you want to sew them together. And if you have 2 like right next to each other when you sew, that's not the end of the world, but we do want to try to make it scrappy if we can. So you want to try to have at least one different one between there. I like to chain piece. I don't know if y'all like to chain piece. So if you want to feed me pairs,
I'm going to try to.
You know what helps?
Turn on the machine, right?
Right.
And it's only when you're filming, right? Because when you come in just normally, it's always ready for you.
No, it's not.
And so essentially speaking, we're going to sew all these 5-inch strips into 5-inch squares into one 5-inch strip.
Yep, so it's 14 squares that are going to go into one big strip, and it's actually going to be a column. So that's the fun thing about this quilt. We're used to doing things in strips that go across, and this quilt is done in columns, so it just makes for a different look that you don't normally see in quilts. So once you've sewn these all into pairs, you should have 7 pairs of 2. Now, when you trim up after chain piecing, do you use scissors, or do you have one of those thread cutters that you use, or do you grab a rotary cutter?
What do I do?
Yeah,
I normally don't chain piece.
You don't chain piece?
Not normally, no.
Oh man,
no.
Life changing. We're gonna take our sets of 2 and turn them into sets of 4, and we won't have an even number. That's fine.
I may feed these to you the way that they're going in the machine. Just to make sure I don't.
Can I pack you my suitcase and you can come home and be my sewing assistant all the time?
I'll try.
So this is gonna be one column,
awesome.
Completely done. You're gonna make 6 like this.
Super
one
cool.
from each of your different piles.
And then ironing, press to the light side, dark side.
Press in one direction.
I don't know if I can just do the whole one-way thing, but I'll try it here. Do we stabilize it? We're gonna put any kind of like best press, anything like that?
If that's your jam, go for it, but you shouldn't need it.
Oh, yeah, everyone heard that, right? That is my jam.
Look at you go.
I'm doing it here.
So there you go, this one's
nice and crisp.
Done.
So we need to repeat this process 5 more times. So at this point, we've gone ahead and sewed up all of our strips, right? Super pretty, so now what's next?
We have all these strips.
Okay.
We're gonna make columns out of these strips. So just like we made columns out of the squares, we're making columns out of these.
Okay.
And in this case, we have 3 different fabrics, so it's going to be super easy. We're going to take 1 of each and sew them together in whatever order.
And we're matching 5s with 5s, 3s with 3s, and 1.5 with 1.5. Oh, those
with
are 2s.
2s with 2s, yep.
2s, got it. Feed these right on to you?
Yep. Because these are 20 inches long,
yes.
I'm gonna show you my magic technique for chain piecing with longer pieces like this. I now take this top piece. I'm going to flip it so that it's right side up. And now I can add this one on.
Right there.
And that way I can chain piece all of these really quick without mixing up any of them.
I love that, right? Just a little bit quicker technique to work with.
So same thing with the ironing, one direction.
Just, yep, one direction. So at this point, all of our 5x5 squares are sewn together in strips.
Yep.
Our 2 inches by 20, they're sewn together, and our 5 inches all sewn together.
Yep.
Tell me what's next. Let's see how this thing's coming together. Whoa.
So do you want to plan it out? Like, I'll let you decide.
I'm going to just start
Do you
laying
want to
it out.
plan it out a little bit?
I just want
or
to
do you-
see. I want squares on the inside. I'm going to throw a skinny guy in here. Okay, like that, like that. This is it. Called it.
This
Good.
is gonna be it?
Yeah, this is
You
it.
good? You're
I
not
like
gonna change
it.
your mind?
I don't know yet. I would be honest. I'm good.
So at this point, what I would usually do is
Okay.
I would take my cell phone and I would take a picture of this for 2 reasons. One is if these get mixed up, I'm never going to be able to recreate this order again unless I have a picture of what I did. The other reason is
Pro
that when
tip.
you look at that cell phone photo, it's going to look different on the screen because you're going to see the colors together. Right
Yep.
now we see them so separate, and something about it going through a screen, you'll be able to see any areas where it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we're going to sew these together into long strips. These strips are 20-20-20 and we lost an inch between. So instead of it being 60 inches long, it's 59 inches long
Yep.
because of the seam allowances. And then these 5-inch squares, they're actually a bit longer.
Gotcha.
So you're going to have a little extra. It's
That's
going
okay.
to, and it's designed that way. We're going to square it up. So now you can decide, okay, is this going to be my top, or do I want to bring this down a little bit and have it in the middle? And what that's going to do is all of these squares,
Will shift.
you can shift them back and
Got
forth.
it.
If you had 2 sets of squares next to each other, you wouldn't worry about having to nest any seams at all.
Gotcha. Gotcha. But I made sure there was no squares next to each other.
And then the other tip that I have is that if I'm going to sew these 2 strips together, this side only has 2 seams on it.
Easy.
This side has a bunch of seams on it. So I'm going to sew these together with these on the top
Yep.
and all of these seams pointing at me, because then they won't
They'll
flip
just right on top
when
of it.
I'm sewing them under the machine. And then just start sewing and you'll see this is a really forgiving quilt.
Love it. Now, are you a long armer?
I'll do what people think is long arming work,
Gotcha.
but I did it on just a domestic machine with a bigger throat than this, so that I have the
Super,
space.
super cool.
So you'll see a little bit left over at the
Yep.
end. Exactly perfect.
Well, and this came out to, like, obviously they're very different tones here.
Yeah.
Super pretty all together still.
Do you want to chat for about doing the last seam? Nope,
Slap-
just do
slap
it.
right on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we just hit our last seam there sewn,
Yes.
but obviously we need some pressing and it does
Yes.
need some trim up. We're gonna iron from the back and then we'll show everyone how to square this thing up in the end.
Yep. But you can already see like all those random strips, they came together and it looks
looks
like
super,
a
super
quilt.
cool.
What I would do when ironing this is I would actually iron towards these strips. Like you can press it all in one
Gotcha, gotcha,
direction,
gotcha.
but I would iron towards these strips so you're not getting the bulk of going on
Gotcha,
itself.
gotcha. So we've got this all pressed out. It's looking amazing here. I love the way this turned out, but we do have to square this quilt up, right?
We do have to square this quilt up. So like the top and
Edges.
bottom edges are all over the place. And part of the reason we did that is you can see that none of these seams are lined up. They're not
good.
supposed to. It adds to the scrappy nature and it
Gotcha.
makes it super forgiving to put it
Love
together.
it.
But you end up with this soft.
How do you square up here?
I don't have a gorgeous big table like this at home.
Okay.
So I'd be scoring this up on my floor with a cutting mat underneath. You can take any of these seams because all these seams are all allegedly
Yep.
straight. So you can fold it across on one of these seams.
Are we just gonna whack off the top?
Just
Is
grab
that
our
what we're
big
doing?
ruler and whack off the top.
So no, not the quarter method.
So
No?
you quarter your quilts,
I've always quartered my quilts, but that doesn't mean that that's the right way, right?
and then because this is hanging off the edge of the table a little bit, you want to be careful of any gravity that's pulling your quilt out of square.
Gotcha.
And then you just find what the lowest point is, which is actually a spot right here.
Gotcha. Go for it.
Boom.
Obviously, guys, measure twice, cut once, right? This is your final cut. Don't mess this up right here.
But now you have a nice
Beautiful.
square top.
Beautiful. And so just repeat to the bottom.
Yep. And then bring the ruler a little bit this way. Yep.
Looking clean, looking good.
Last cut. Whew. Finished quilt top.
That is awesome. So let's show everyone this, if we can get it open.
There we go.
It is a beautiful quilt top.
This is a great lap size quilt or baby quilt. So we made this baby quilt in a couple hours.
Yeah,
Tops.
easy, easy. And not only that, guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send this over to our in-house long armor to have it all finished, and then we'll give you kind of the final reveal. So we just got this back from the long armor, and it looks gorgeous,
So
right?
good.
thank you so much for being here with us and teaching us how to do this.
This was such a blast. I'm so glad I got to do this. I hope y'all enjoyed this as well. Make sure that if you make this quilt, then you send us pictures. I want to see these.
Absolutely. And not only that, make sure you check out Carolina Moore on YouTube, Facebook, all those platforms, and see all the wonderful stuff that you do. It is absolutely incredible.
Now people might want to know where this quilt is going next.
This quilt for us, we're actually going to donate this to the Alaska Quilt Drive, which ends here, I think it's tomorrow. We'll make sure it gets off to somebody who is in need, and also just be able to help someone out there. Like, so much of this industry is about giving, and so we too want to give back. So we appreciate all you guys. Make sure you check out Carolina Moore, and we'll see you on the next one.